Hi, Shane here, better known as the Cumble guy from Farfa's stream. I just wanted to say that this episode was actually recorded way before that stream took place, and also to say that our recording and upload schedule has been extremely irregular. But now that we have a small subscriber base, we're going to actually have a more regular upload schedule. For the podcast, at least, we're thinking once a month. And we're also actually now thinking about other content that we can do, Yu-Gi-Oh! Related content, of course. So if you want to see that, stay tuned. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hi, and welcome to the Table501 podcast. I'm Shane, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Ahmed and Justin. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
And yeah, so it's definitely been a while. How long has it been since like our last one?
Like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Yeah, so a lot has happened, but also a lot hasn't happened.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Like, big news has happened, but nothing, like, groundbreaking has happened.
Yeah.
Because, spoilers, still no event.
Wear your masks, wash your hands, social
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
living in coronavirus town, city, world existence.
And at least in America, it doesn't seem like it's gonna end
No.
anytime soon.
Ooh,
But let's not get into politics.
let's get into
Anyways.
geopolitics.
Yeah. So yeah, the ban list happened.
Yeah, it did.
We're a little slow on talking about it.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. We're gonna do it.
Promise
when
next
we're like-
ban list will be a little bit closer to the mark.
No promises.
We'll try.
So they actually did it. The madmen at Konami actually made an actual ban list and didn't just do what we thought they were gonna do or do another unban list.
Hey, I just want to go out on a limb and say I was pretty hopeful. I was pretty hopeful, even in the last episode.
I was
that
very
they were,
skeptical about it.
I
they were
was
just gonna come
hopeful.
out.
I was hopeful. I just didn't know if they were gonna pull the trigger and do it. But I'm very glad that they did, and they gave us a substantial ban list. Like not an
Mhm.
unban list. They gave us a ban list.
I mean, they definitely played around and they didn't hit some problem card. Well, a problem card in particular.
Yep.
What card are we talking
Yeah.
about?
Definitely Shape Snatch. Shape Snatch is just too strong in the meta right now.
Reddit funny. XD Reddit.
No, but Hulk needs to go.
It just came, or not just came out, but it had just come out. Like, it's still got some time.
Yeah, but it just needs to go.
And we can talk about the implications of that in a second. I mean, we've talked about it for like 3 podcasts straight, but we can keep going. So they banned.
We're just gonna like
they
rename it the Hulk podcast.
So they banned Yup Cock Dragon, which was cool. So rock decks, sorry. That's really rough, especially if you weren't an
Yeah.
anticipator. Jet Synchron, I feel was a little too much, but like okay. I mean, there's like 1,000 other Jet Synchrons. Like people are playing like Spreader Zombie.
So
now,
yeah.
which is, like,
I like that. So I don't think it was too far. I think hitting Jet Synchron is the perfect way to make sure that Hulk isn't just accessible by every deck.
Yeah.
Because like Plague Spreader Zombie, like
It's a
it is-
break.
Yeah, it's a
don't
break.
have
It's not the same as like Hulk, where it's just literally free every time.
Yeah, you can normal
Yeah, I mean,
summon. Well,
I
Kinda.
agree that Jet Synchron is the best of all of these like tuner fodders for needle fiber. But again, we're just like we're doing the Konami thing where we're pussyfooting around the actual problem. And not
yeah,
just-
they're gonna have to end up banning every single tuner at that point, or at least every single tuner that can generate more advantage.
Which,
Well,
I
like-
mean, arguably, cards that just generate more advantage for existing are problematic in general, including Hulk Firex.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Plague Spreader was Plague Spreader ever on the list?
It was, I think, for a time.
Yeah,
I think it was when we were playing, like in 2013. Shane.
I think it was like limited too.
Maybe.
I know I've seen people trying to play around with like Crystron Rosenix, which is like a tuner that can banish itself from the graveyard to make
Yep.
a token. There's like fucking a ton of other Mecha Phantom Beast tuners that can generate tokens.
But
Or at
none
least-
as strong as Mecha Phantom Beast O-Line.
Which is funny, 'cause apparently Mecha Phantom Beast decks, like actual pure decks, don't even run O-Line or didn't
I
even.
believe that. I believe it. Double Iris Magician got limited. Who cares?
Yeah, that's. Can somebody
Let's go,
explain that?
baby!
Can
Pendulum
we
Vector!
actually? Why was that banned in the first place? What?
I think I told you about it before. It just doesn't have a once per turn on its effect. I'll read it off to you. So it has a pendulum effect of once per turn. You can target one dark spellcaster monster you control, apply this effect to it, then destroy this card. That's the part that's important, to destroy this card. Once applied, double any battle damage that monster inflicts to your opponent. Right, so no one cares about battle damage shit.
Yeah,
But
not
the
at all.
fact is that you use its effect and then the card is destroyed, which triggers its monster effect, which is if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, including itself, you can add one pendulum graph card from your deck to your hand.
Oh, right.
So it triggers itself as a searcher.
Okay, yeah.
Again, I didn't play when this card was problematic, but just reading it, and if anyone who's listening to us and is more experienced than I am, please call me out. But just reading it and not playing at the time that this thing was a problem, that's the sense that I get from it.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, it hasn't done anything. Rusty Bardiche coming back to 1,
Which
has
I
been
do.
good.
I do want to talk about that because that has had some implications on the metagame so far. I don't know. I don't know if this card was okay to come back.
I mean, it had to because that's the whole Phantom
Yep.
Rage.
But that's the thing, like, Orcists are already using it hard. Orcists literally won at least. Was there another Quarantine series since the one that Orcist won?
I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
But I know they won and topped like. There were like 3 or 4. I'd have to double check, but there was a pretty big representation top cut of Orcists, running this and getting insane endboards.
Yeah, not to mention it brought Goki out of obscurity and like bumped it up to an actual rogue deck.
What?
Yeah, no, Goki, they run like literally no Goki extra deck monsters, but they can just use the code or virus, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, Code Virus.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, they can just use that combo to get out Dragoon and a bunch of other shit, and it's like it's like a budget a budget Infernoble. Like it's just a warrior link spam deck that abuses its soul. And it essentially Rusty Bardiche brought that deck out of obscurity.
Yeah,
Oh.
I completely understand that. Yeah, they had to find a way to sell the product. Gotta sell it. But this card is powerful, and I think we're gonna see a lot of it once the Phantom Knights
Oh,
comes
absolutely.
out. Like I think both Orcists and Phantom Knights are going to just
And
be
PK
everywhere.
Fire and PK.
And PK Fire, yep. I think that's going to be a huge problem in the coming months. And
I don't know. It's a card that says +2 in card advantage is kind of problematic.
Yep.
Where the +2 is a negate.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not inherently a +2 because it sends a Phantom Knight monster from your deck to your grave, and then you can set your Fog Blade. But guess what? You're gonna send Silent Boots, and that's gonna get you your next Fog Blade.
Yep.
So
And something about Fog Blade is just so annoying to play against too. Like it's
because
more.
it stops your attacks.
Yep.
You think,
It's like Fiendish Chain, but it's a power crap
Yeah.
Fiendish Chain that
Do you-
you
do
can
you-
like basically search off of Bardiche.
Do you
Yep.
think Rusty Bardiche can exist in the same world if they limit Fogblade?
I mean, they'd have to. Limiting it wouldn't really do much because.
Well, instead of getting 2, they would just get 1.
Yeah, but still.
But the
I mean-
thing is I think like the actual meta, because of this ban list and everything, is in a, I wouldn't say necessarily healthy, but there are a lot of decks that can like succeed. But it's weird because it's like all these decks have incredibly unfair haymakers that they can do, and that's the only reason why they're competing with each other. So if you're playing Rogue or something and trying to do something that is just a hint of fair, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, that's a different discussion because I think Rogue is like okay right now.
I think think Rogue's pretty strong right now.
I think Rogue is okay. I don't think it's super strong, but
Yeah.
it can contend. Like I mean, for goodness sake, I just watched Coder today playing Unchained, just completely, he didn't completely sweep him, but like he just basically just took Dragon Link behind the barn and just did what Unchained did. But anyway, that's Bardiche. Called by the Grave, stupid limit. What the fuck? I hate you, Konami.
Yeah. I don't.
Just
I'm
genuinely
okay
out of the blue.
I'm okay with it because I play a hand trap deck, but realistically speaking, what the fuck?
Yeah. Again, we were
this
just
is the red
saying,
reboot hit, all over again. Like
we were just saying that like Rogue is in like a decent spot, but then the Grave got limited, which hurt Rogue.
It hurt part of Rogue because, again, I play like a striker Rogue deck that just plays hand traps, and Called by the Grave usually was a pretty like big hit because it took out a really important piece of interaction. So like the hand trap Rogue got more powerful, and the rest of Rogue got fucked.
Which is, and it's weird because Gamma and Nibiru are becoming much more popular in the main, and Called by the Grave does nothing against them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they activate and result. I mean, they activate in the hand because you don't discard them for cost, which is just bizarre. Anyway, completely out of the blue. I don't really see Konami's justification for that. But anyway, Harpy's Feather Duster came back, which was really cool.
That's it for the Forbidden, by the way, or Limited. I mean,
for Limited, yeah. And then there's not too much. Seer Graph came back, like awesome, good for you, Burning Abyss players. I'm like actually genuinely happy for you guys.
Like, welcome back.
Yep.
Yeah, welcome back.
ABC, Dragon Buster, and Totally Awesome.
Shouldn't have been limited in the first place.
Yeah, really stupid. But
that was the most like jumping the gun I've ever seen. Like, ABC is gonna be so broken in MR 2020.
And why was Toad banned? Like, I know they were releasing some shark stuff, but did they really think that was going to be that big of a problem?
They thought, because Bahamut can just, like,
summon one negate.
People were, like, I guess they were afraid that you could get multiple Bahamut sharks out and get a bunch of free negates and whatever. I don't know. It was just...
Oh, so, like, every other deck.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was pretty worried about water.
I still think water, if they had their proper representation, could be at least a solid road deck.
I think they need a little bit more consistency to like get their stuff going. And
I know I'm incredibly wrong on this, but I still think Moray of Greed is such a good card, but no one runs it.
Okay.
I've seen it.
And then for the Unlimited Makura, got it to Rada, so it's fine.
Well,
Tour Guide wasn't doing anything at 3, or it wasn't doing anything at 2, it's not going to do anything at 3. Gust Kraken, again, have fun saying goodbye to your cards, but it's fine. Pantheism, this card could have come off the ban list like 2 years ago. And then Widow Anchor.
They still brick.
Yeah, Widow exactly, Anchor. And then they still brick. And then Widow Anchor coming to 3, good for strikers. I don't think it necessarily makes them super meta, but it's good. Like, who doesn't want a free extra negate and like potential steal?
Back to Pantheism though. Did you guys see the like I forget what site it is, but there's a website that shows you like what amount of decks are being played and what their win percentage is on Dueling Book.
Oh yeah.
And Monarch had like I think like an above 50% play rate or something like that, and like a fucking 30% win rate.
When you get a bunch of like shitty players, because here's the thing: the reason the reason Monarchs got hit, and the way that they did, was because it came out in a structure deck. All these good cards, all these meta cards came out in a structure deck, and you didn't need an extra deck for them. So that's 15 less cards that you need to even like consider. So it came out in a structure deck, and so it was accessible. Right? The meta was accessible to a wide swathe of people. So a bunch of people were playing meta, and they were just completely dominating the scene, the landscape of the game, because everyone was able to play it. So people were like, bro, are you serious? So that's the reason they got hit. And I think that the reason so many people were playing it is because they're like, oh yeah, I used to play Monarchs, because everyone used to play Monarchs. And you didn't have to be the best player to play Monarchs. You know, like
Yep.
so that's probably why the win rate is so low. But
Which
that's that.
Konami did a very good job of avoiding that, I guess, with Salamangreats, because like the structure deck was great and it got you most of your cards, but especially back when the deck first came out, like you almost needed Signet Mining to play the game,
Yeah.
and that card was not accessible to anyone.
No. Even though it was overprinted, I think.
The thing is, it just probably searched out every power card of the format.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I remember when I used Signet Mining to get my evenly matched.
Dude, I used it to get my multi-faker all the time.
Yeah, I got my Chaos Max Dragon off of it once.
Yeah, Chainlink 1 Signet, Chainlink 2 multi-faker effect.
Shut the fuck up.
god damn it.
But that's basically it for the ban list. A lot of people, I mean, most people were pretty happy about it.
I was very
Yeah.
happy about it.
A lot of people
on-
were surprised too.
On the Widow Anchor, just real quick, it was a nice ad, because now you don't have to run like another. You could even take out Imperm if you really wanted, or you can run one less and have a spell card which actually gets you towards, 3 in the grave, which is what you want. And plus, just like you said, another possible negate in the deck. It's way better than running something like Afterburners that, it's more interaction, which is what the deck needed. And not being afraid to banish it off of multi-roll or something is, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice.
Also, the fact that you have 3 Kagari now, so
Oh, yeah.
you could have like essentially 6 Widow Anchors if you wanted to.
Essentially 8 or 9 with multi-roll too.
Oh god.
You can Kagari it back and then bring it back again with multi-roll. You have a lot. You have a lot of striker cards with that combo. But overall, I thought the list was really good. I'm very upset to see how little Eldritch and Dragon Link got touched at all. I don't,
fucking Dragon Link didn't even get fucking smacked
not
at
even
all.
thought about. They didn't even
LP's
consider.
gone next list. LP has to be gone next list.
Please no. I mean, yes, but please no.
It's the same thing we talked about earlier, where they pussyfoot around Hulk. Like, yeah, they've danced around LP for years almost.
Yeah, what else do they hit though?
Yeah, exactly. What else do you
Like
hit?
the only
That's a good
only other
point.
thing that I can see is maybe quick launch to 1, and then you
Bro,
just
you gotta
fuck
hit the
over.
Tracer.
Dude, quick launch. Why is quick launch not a once per turn?
And E-Telly's limited.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, bring
Right?
E-Telly back to 3. No, actually don't, because then there's
Dude,
probably
every
gonna be
deck has
some
an
fucking-
E-Telly now.
Yeah, almost.
Must be nice. Must be nice, guys.
But yeah, I'm very disappointed. I like Eldritch. I play Eldritch, but I would have liked to see a more prominent Eldritch hit because, unfortunately, anyone who spent any money on Adamanticators are now
Bad.
out hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars.
That's
Meanwhile-
the life of a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
If
I think
you play
Farfa said it best.
Eldritch-
It's the best deck to have never topped an event.
Yep.
Yeah. No, you're
Dude,
right.
it's like, dude, oh my god. Like, if you play Eldritch, it's like, haha, you thought you killed me, but I'm at worst, like, tier 2, arguably much higher.
Yeah,
'Cause-
I would definitely put Eldritch at like the top of tier 2.
I'd put them
It
at
is-
1.5. I'd put
I'd
them
put
and
'em
Orcust in the same, like, category. They're so strong. They can still do everything they used to do. They just can't extend past what they used to do with O-Lion. They can still do the Martial Metal Marcher.
That card needs to go too.
It needs to go.
That's the next one if they don't take Hulk out.
I would argue that needs to go more than Helk in some situations. Because, like, Helk gets you somewhere, it's free. But that card just, like, extends. And yeah, they didn't lose anything with Jet Synchron. They just played Plague Spreader instead. And
Yep.
oh no, they have to put a card back in their deck. Darn. They'll
Yeah, and
probably
if they
put
drew like a
card they
Garnet or
searched.
something, there you
Yep.
go.
And yeah, we already talked about Dragon Link. I wish that would have been thought about. Obviously, they didn't hit Infernoble Knights because they didn't start being prominent until right now, anyway.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah,
they
well,
were gonna hit them,
The,
'cause they
the
came out,
one
like,
thing they
2
should have
months
fucking
ago.
hit was the or the smoke grenade.
Well, that's not getting hit because it's coming out in super rare in the next OTS.
So
Yeah.
we got at least, I'd say, 2 more lists of that.
Great.
Fun and interactive card.
Mhm.
Really, really engaging card. I enjoy it a lot. Every time I get Smoke Grenade, I'm like, yes, I am having fun. I'm glad I spent a bunch of money on these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I don't get to win with them.
Mhm.
Yeah, anything else on the list that we want to talk about here?
No, I think we hit everything. I mean, Red Reboot didn't come back, so
I was gonna say, any wishful thinking cards that we wish we could have gotten back?
ooh, actually looking at it. Okay, let me just. I know I made my list before, and that was one of the things that we were talking about. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. I was thinking maybe MX Saber Invoker, but I don't know how that would work.
No. That card cannot come back. No. It's
I
just
really,
summons a Beast Warrior from the deck, like, not once per turn.
Well, I mean, if it's at 1, oh, I guess if you keep bringing it back, maybe. I don't know.
I
There you
really
go.
would have been okay with a Colossus limit or something.
I would have.
I don't know.
Yeah,
About
I'm like
that.
on the line. I'm on the line about that because, like, I understand a lot of people really liked Thunder Dragons, and like I respect that, and I really do respect that because a lot of people that I talked to that played Thunder Dragons like really enjoyed the deck. So I get that it was really disappointing to have that very oppressive card.
Literally the best floodgate in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and it's so easy to summon. So easy to summon.
That's fair. That's fair.
but- I think the Arch Nemesis thing, the Thunder thing that activates in the hand, they'd have to do something about that before bringing Colossus back, but I don't know. In terms of anything I wanted back, I mean, I'd like back Called by the Grave, but again,
Yeah, I was just about
Yeah.
to say. That's the only
Um,
thing that I'm looking at here that I would want back.
but anything like preemptive, like pre-ban list, I don't know. Like, I'm fine with like the contents of my deck. Yeah, I don't really. There wasn't anything that I was hoping to come back, honestly. I mean, Harpy's Feather Duster coming back is fine. I'm not like super jazzed about it because
I think it won its. I think it won its okay.
Yeah.
right?
No, me too. I agree. I completely agree. But I wasn't like, oh, come back. I wasn't like begging for it to come back. The fact that it's back, I'm happy about it. But I wasn't like.
Yeah,
sitting there.
it doesn't really do anything big right now because
No one's
no-
playing back row.
yeah, no one's really playing back row
A
except
lot of people are just putting it in their
Orchist.
side.
and like if you're playing against Orchist, they're gonna have a crescendo, and goodbye. You did not get to activate your effect.
Yeah,
Right.
Crescendo and 2 Fogblade and sometimes even a Dragoon on the field. That's actually a huge fucking field.
It's insane. Sometimes an Appaloosa too.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to move on then to talk about the current Dragoon-centric metagame?
Sure.
It's funny because we say that, but then the best decks aren't even playing Dragoon.
Because they don't
Yeah.
need to.
Because Dragon Link is not. Infernoble is not. Dogmatica variants are not.
But everything
think
under that.
Invoke, I think
Yeah.
Invoked variants might be. What's the 5th deck that's really good? It's kind of a flex spot. But like it's funny because the best decks aren't even playing it. But I agree. It's
I have
it's stupid.
I have a point on that. The best decks right now are all going first decks, and Dragoon is not as oppressive going first.
Oh yeah.
It is not nearly as oppressive going first. Going
Right.
second, that card slaps.
I think
Mhm.
it's better going first.
Going second, it's a free board clear essentially, and also you do burn
Unless they
damage,
stop the Verte Anaconda.
which yes, but if I'm saying like if you can get it out, like
Mm-hmm.
as it, going first, it's still very good, but it gets
I'm kinda
its
with
full
Ahmed on
range
this
of
one.
effect if it goes second.
Well, we can argue about if it's better going first or second. I just want to say something that I heard Triff say that I've thought about like literally from the moment I found out about this card, and feel free to crucify me. Cyframe Gamma is an overrated hand trap.
I
is
agree.
An,
I
okay,
could not
it is
agree
an
more.
overrated
I
hand
could
trap.
not
It
agree
is
more.
not as good as as people think. It is not as good as people think it is. I don't think it needs to be mained right now. I genuinely do not.
I refuse to main it. Because it's just bricky. It just forces you to play a
If you
brick.
if it's your second card,
Yep,
I'm sorry, your
I was
sixth
gonna
card.
say.
I mean, like, oh, cool. Like,
Nothing.
I've been saying this since people started running it. It's better in Haymaker decks. Decks that like can either put up something huge or a board in just one turn and just win the game off of that. Whereas you have other decks like what I'm playing now, Plunder, Sky Striker,
Yep.
that want to use their hand traps in addition to their other resources in order to, control the game.
Gain advantage.
Yeah. So in those decks, Gamma is just absolutely awful because it's literally just 4 cards in your deck that are just dead draws after past turn 1.
and then one of them is literally always dead. I
Whereas
said its description at the beginning of the episode in Italian.
Yeah, where literally in like Dragon Link or Infernoble, they can put up their big oppressive board in one turn. So if they top deck it, then that just going second, then yeah, absolutely, that's fine because they don't really care about drawing dead after that because they can just win the game off of their already put up field.
See, the reason I even invoked Triff at the beginning was because I've genuinely had this opinion from the moment I learned about Gamma. I'm like, this is like, it's good. It's like obviously a monster effect that activates in the hand that special summons a monster out of the deck. I mean, they're both banished in the end phase, but like it stops it. It just negates and destroys. That's awesome. But like there's so many restrictions around it, and I've genuinely had this experience from the moment that I read the card, however long ago, that I'm like, this isn't that good. Like I wouldn't play this as my hand trap of choice. And like I said, the reason I brought up Triff was because I'm like, oh, cool, like a big YouTuber, like a decent player of the game, also agrees. Because I've been like worried to say it because I thought like people would like dogpile and be like, oh, you're just not good enough. You don't understand. Blah 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 blah. So when Triff said it, I'm like, wow, like okay, cool, thank you. I'm not crazy here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I tried running it for a while, and especially right now, in an era where if you're not playing one of those top 5 decks, you are playing Dragoon, because it's really the only way to survive. You don't really want to add another one, arguably 4 dead cards in your deck.
Yeah.
Because you're already trying not to draw your fucking Dark Magician and Red Eyes. And you definitely don't want to draw Driver. And, yeah. Cards, it's good. It's just not, like, absolutely necessary. However, right now, I think Nibiru might be the best, or one of the best hand traps.
Oh, it always has been.
I wouldn't say always has been.
Well, at least the past couple of metas. Or at least the past meta.
The past meta for sure. I'd say at the beginning of this year,
yeah, tossed format, it wasn't really the...
Even at the beginning of this format, it was like when Eldritch was playing pure...
Or even what Shadal invoked and everything.
Yeah, it wasn't very good there. Or it was good, but like, it wasn't really main deckable. Now, I'd argue that you're like at a disadvantage if you're playing a going second deck and that's not main deck. Because the card just says, if your opponent is playing a deck that summons a bunch of monsters, you win the duel.
Mm-hmm. Well, theoretically, Dragon Link still can play through every single hand trap of the format, pretty much.
But they have to play around the... Well, yeah, they can, because every card they have is live. But most decks have to play around, like, expecting Nibiru. Which isn't always easy. Like, sometimes the line doesn't lead to Arclight 5th summon.
You know what I'm surprised by? And I guess it's...
Tell us, Shane.
The fact that not a ton of people are running the actual FTK version of the Dragon Link deck that was proven to be able to play through any singular hand trap 95% of the time, and Nibiru
Oh,
like
yeah.
70% of the time.
The
Like
ass
two actual.
piss thing.
Yeah, the ass piss.
Let's go, ass piss.
Ass piss Dragon Link. Like no one jumped on that. I for sure thought that the Yu-Gi-Oh community would be like, being as toxic as it is, be like an FTK that's this consistent. Sign me the hell up. But I guess they don't really need to do that if they're just putting up negates and
What
still
if-
playing Dragon Link.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to make it so that people didn't play.
I guess people just kind of like were like, this isn't healthy. Maybe I'd like to think.
No. Yu-Gi-Oh players do not care about fucking.
See, that's what
the
I
health of
thought.
the
That's
game.
why I thought everyone would be running it, but like they haven't. So I guess we have some kind of honor, maybe. I don't know.
No. It might just be that turn one like big board negate is just more consistent, like in terms of like what they can draw. Because we talked about it, Dragon Link is literally just like every card is live at all
Yeah,
times.
you draw any two dragons or
Any cards in your deck is just
yeah,
like, yep.
pretty much.
See, I was thinking maybe it's because of the difficulty of the decks. I don't play Dragon Link. I mean, I almost played Dragon.
That's true.
But I've never played the FTK variant. And I genuinely don't know the difficulty. But this is just speculation. Because maybe like their win rates are the same, you know, perhaps. But I mean, we're Yu-Gi-Oh players. We're gonna go to something easier if we have the option. So I think Dragon Link might just be the easier choice that has like a similar play style, but like similar results as well in comparison to the FTK. But I didn't.
So that's actually a good reminder. I wanted to mention this. I don't know if you had seen it, but this was a while ago now, like maybe 2 months ago. But on one of Farfa's streams, he did a skill comparison chart of the like how much skill it takes to pilot a deck and what that deck can do with a bad player piloting it, a mediocre player piloting it, and a good player piloting it. And stuff like Infernoble Knights it could do okay with a bad pilot, but with like a top tier player, it is almost like 100% of the time going to win, because as long as it has its options, because the good player knows exactly how to set up their board.
Yeah.
And Dragon Link is the same thing. There are so many routes you can go that the deck's hard. The deck is just literally hard.
Yeah.
And obviously there's only a fraction of top tier Yu-Gi-Oh players realistically.
Right.
Not everyone can be a Worlds player, unfortunately. Everyone has the potential, but not everyone can be. And so yeah, I think that's a very realistic reason, is like Aspis takes a lot of skill, and why play that and lose a bunch of matches with a deck that you know is good but you don't know how to play, when you could just play, let's say, Numeron Guru and win.
Yeah. It might also be like going off of that for sure. The forgivingness, I guess the forgiveness of the deck, because if you don't get the FTK off, cool, you just have a bunch of monsters on your field that like are meant to enable an FTK, but like on your opponent's turn they're essentially vanillas. Whereas Dragon Link, it's like intended to interact with your opponent, so that could be it as well. I don't know.
I just
Like,
think the
if you fuck up,
recovery.
Like if you fuck up in the FTK, sorry, you're gonna end on a really shitty board. You might end on like a 1 negate or something. I don't know. I don't remember what the deck list was. But Dragon Link is intended to be like a control strategy that, like, if you're playing the Vylon Cube variant, is supposed to move some cards out of your hands just so you have less resources, and then obviously they put up negates.
And they summon Portal Load. Savage.
How much do you want to bet they actually ban Vylon Cube instead of Smoke
They're not
Grenade?
Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna.
I'd be okay with getting fucking Savage out of here. Like, they shouldn't, but I'm so sick of that card. I am so sick of seeing that card and having it get counters and then having it just completely end my turn before
Yeah.
it starts.
It's 20. I mean, it came out in what, 2018, 2019. It's 2019, 2018's version of Stardust Dragon. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with it existing. It's like relatively. It has one negate per turn,
Yeah.
and like it's kind of.
I would say the
Stardust-
more
Just-
pressing issue would be Dragoon before.
No, I
Savage
agree,
Dragon.
but like, I'm not saying they should ban it. I'm just saying like, if they did it, I wouldn't argue. I'd be like, okay, yeah, thanks, because it's every deck. I think we might have talked about this recently, but every deck's just summoning the same board at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we know why that is, you know, because every deck has the same access to the same tools that every other deck has, and it's just it doesn't promote fun deck building or
Yep.
fun interactivity. And it's like, oh, you got two monsters. One says the T word on it. Cool. I wonder. Yeah. Oh, there's the cards that I've been seeing for months and months and months and months. So I think
Or
it's
once-
really that.
Or once Hulk gets out of the game or is stopped somehow, then it's gonna be, oh, you got two monsters out. Oh, you summoned a plant monster.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you sent two vanilla monsters to the graveyard. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the tools have become the tools themselves in this game have become helmet. It's not so much the decks or the players; it's like the actual cards
Yeah, that's a
are.
fair.
Yep.
Yeah, like the actual cards themselves are like in the I don't want to keep saying like back in my day type of thing, but like fucking Ahmed, do you remember like the Quasar fucking combo boards? Do you remember like Laval Quasar? I'm pretty sure there was like a TG Quasar fucking a build, but that at least it looked like the person needed skill like in order to like actually play it. Well, yeah, but I mean I don't know. The draw to synchros for me was the fact that there were so many different ones and every board could put up like a different one. But now we're just seeing literally the same cards over and over and over again. Herald, Borreload,
Appaloosa,
Dragoon,
Hulk,
Buster
Marcher,
Lock, Rusty Bardiche,
Union
Fogblade,
Carrier.
IP, even
Yeah.
like
We don't even need
there's
to go on from there. It's
yeah, there's literally no variety.
Now, hold on. First, for our listeners at home, Shane's views and words do not summarize the views of all parts of our podcast. We do not condone calling people helmet. That is Shane's decision. I agree, but there need to be like staple monsters. There need to be staple monsters. Like
I
IP, I
agree.
think is a staple monster. Appaloosa, I think is a kind of staple monster.
And I've always liked those. I won't say that I don't. I just like when staple monsters aren't the entire metagame and also really oppressive.
No, I completely agree. Shane, when you said like every deck had its own synchro monsters that they put out, like I love that. That's genuinely my favorite thing about the game. How like every deck has its own like specific cool
Like, its
thing that
identity.
they're trying to. Yeah, exactly.
Like Dragoonity back,
Exactly.
like when you were playing Dragoonity, that was actually a pretty fun deck to play against because it was all Dragoonity monsters that you were putting out.
Not true.
Well, not necessarily true,
Not
but
true.
you went through a bunch of Dragoonity monsters and they
Yeah.
did cool things. They interacted cool because they were all Dragoonity monsters. But I forgot what your end boards would be back then. but
Photon Strike Bouncer.
Dragonity card.
yeah.
What? Stardust Dragon.
Definitely Dragonity.
What
That's a
else?
Wind Dragon Synchro.
Yeah, I forgot what else they put out.
Vadriana. I don't know if that, I think
Adriana
that's like
didn't do anything. I mean, you put out Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger or something if you're going for game. Sometimes you went into Crimson Blader because Crimson Blader was
Yeah.
so good against Dragon Rulers. Holy
that
shit.
card was actually busted.
It
for
was
like a
good. It
pretty
was like a
decent-
tech card too. Like no
Yeah.
one really played it, but like people figured out, oh, this is really good against Dragon Rulers. So any deck that can make like a level 8 and start playing it. Anyway, but yeah, I just really enjoy the identities of decks, rather than the identity of a deck being the means to an end of the same thing that everyone else is ending on. So we've talked about this at great length, like ad
I think in our
nauseam.
last
Mhm.
episode,
We've
even.
talked about it almost every episode for like the last couple months, really.
Which really says something.
It really does
Yeah.
say something. And every YouTuber is talking about, or every Yu-Gi-Oh content creator is talking about it too. Like MBT was just talking about it on Twitter, and I think maybe on one of his streams as well. But it just says a lot about the game right now.
Yeah, it's like having a bunch of professional chefs and they're all cooking using different ingredients, but the end dish that they all like put out is just a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
McDonald's
Yeah.
hamburger.
Like this
They
peanut
have
butter.
a lot of ingredients going into it. It's just
Woo!
fucking meat, bread, and cheese at the end.
Exactly. It's at the end. It's all the same thing, but yeah. But again, we got onto this tirade and what were we talking about before? Like meta.
Analyzing the meta
Yeah,
because
about
right now, like I'd say the 5 best decks are Dragon Link, Infernoble, Eldritch variants, Dogmatica variants, and then probably dinosaurs as well.
Oh, yep.
Oh, I put dinosaur in like the top 3. I would say
I'm
it goes.
just saying the 5 best. I'm not like
Yeah.
Yeah, in no order right now. I'd say Orchist is like fiending for that spot as well for top 5. Like they're fighting pretty hard with some of the non-Dragon Link deck. I'd say like Orchist, Dogmatica, and like maybe Dino are like scrapping to get into that top area, but
I would actually say Eldritch is scrapping too. Like at least for me, the 3 definitely clear-cut tier 1 decks are Dragon Link, Infernoble, Dinosaur. Tier 1.5 to 2, that's when you get into Invoked Dogmatica, Eldritch stuff, Invoked or Dogmatica versions of that one. Orchist, I would say, is in there. Am I missing anything else in that like tier 1.5, high tier 2, borderline tier 1 kind of?
Nothing else is really popping right now.
Yeah, I would say like so those decks like are definitely in like the high tier. So Dragon Link, Infernoble, Dinosaur, Invoke Dogmatica, Eldritch, Orchist. Yeah.
Orchis is just like in kind of its own tier above Rogue, but under like tier 1-ish.
Yep. It's like
it's not tier 1. It's absolutely not tier 1 right now.
it's fighting to get there, and it's really consistent and powerful. But
I would say it has the tools to get there, but it's extremely dependent on the pilot of the not only the Orchis deck, but of the person you're playing against. Because Orchis has, I mean, it's demonstrated that it has the ability to top, like, at least an online event, because it did win the Quarantine Series, like one of the more recent ones. And I'm assuming they were playing against other meta decks like Infernoble, Dragon Link, all that kind of stuff. Buster Lock is still a hell of a lock.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. And that's not gonna go anywhere for a while.
So did we have anything else we wanted to talk about in terms of meta, ban list, decks, cards that came out?
That's really it. I think the only answer to solving what we have in the meta is banning those ubiquitous tools that every deck just, you know, I think I'd be cool with like a hard reset. Banning Link Cross, like if we got a ban on Link Cross, ban on Martial Metal Marcher, ban on Aurodon, ban on Needle Fiber, a lot of those bans are redundant. But like if we got a hard reset, I would be completely fine. And you know, we get to see, as Shane put it very well, the identities of these decks.
Yeah.
The only card that I'm like, I really hope they don't hit, but definitely deserves a hit, actually, in my opinion, is Despot 001. Like, I just love Despots as like an archetype. I almost built them, but 001 is just such a strong card.
Only in
like,
conjunction with Link Cross and Aurodon, though.
Yep.
Yeah. But still, like any card that can special summon machine type monsters and like a plethora of them, Despot 001 is just nice. But Aurodon and Link Cross, well, is Link Cross summon, or does it summon machines? Or is it any monsters? I think it's any monster, right?
Wait, say it again?
Is it Despot 001, it's if more than one machine type monster are summoned at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Link Cross.
Well, I think they're token.
Card.
Is it?
Yeah, tokens work too, but it's like any two machine or
Oh
two
yeah,
or
yeah,
more
yeah.
machine
I
type
just wanted to make sure
monsters.
it was like it wasn't machine tokens, but yeah, it's just machines.
Yeah, Lincross is one hell of a card.
Yeah.
I don't think this will happen. One card I'm afraid they'll hit for no reason, because Konami has a history of hitting cards for no reason. We literally talked about ABC earlier. I'm afraid that they'd hit access code
I don't know.
just for no reason.
If they haven't hit Boral Sword since it came out, I
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna do
True.
it. Again, I think it'd be ridiculous if they did, and I agree with you, but I
Yep.
don't foresee that happening.
It's just one of those things where at least Boral Sword is a little bit more fair, in my opinion. Whereas, like, access code literally says if this card is on the field, you can't actually interact with it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But that's just on like the turn that you summon it, because after the turn you summon it, some decks can out it because it has no form of protection.
Yeah, but normally if you go into access code,
It's already
you,
game.
you're taking game with it. Like,
Yeah.
or they're top decking and you just cleared their entire board and they've got 700 life points and they have to draw like the exact card that plays around your other cards on the board, you know?
Yeah.
Normally access code is a game ender.
And if they do hit it, like literally, you could just run Boral Sword Dragon or something.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really like access code.
I don't think they'll hit access code. If anything, they'll like limit it or something, like something that is just
I don't
like
think they're gonna do that.
not
People only
relevant
play
at
it as
all.
one event. I don't think they're gonna touch it at all. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything. It just takes games. You know?
I thought for a minute there, Justin, you were gonna say they're gonna touch Effect Veiler as like a tuner. I was like, oh
no,
god.
no.
Yeah, they'd never do that.
That Effect Veiler has existed. It's an unbelievably fair card. It's even more fair than Imperm ever will be, because it literally is only on your opponent's main phase.
Yeah.
Whereas this fucking Imperm, you can just like activate it, shuts down a column if you get to set it. The only reason Effect Veiler is big right now is because it has the T word on it. I guarantee after this format's over, Effect Veiler goes back into, I want to say obscurity, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. I think people still run it as like a staple hand trap. I mean, I'm putting it in my deck, and I don't even run the Celine combo. I just like the fact that you can use it more than once in a turn.
I mean, you can do the same thing with Imperm.
Yeah, Imperm's not once per turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like in it's like almost the same argument as Gamma. Where if you draw it past turn 1, where you do actually control cards, it's not as good as
I disagree
Gamma.
because it has better effects if you set it. It closes
yeah.
the column
Yeah,
for
see,
spells and traps.
The reason Imperm is so good is because it's good going first or second.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just saying that in some decks, drawing something that you can immediately activate, regardless of the game state, like Effect Veiler.
Well, Effect Veiler is only on your opponent's turn.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying like if you draw, okay, maybe it's just a niche thing for me because of Plunder, but like you can activate Blackbeard Effect and get your draw off on your opponent's turn,
Yeah.
and if you draw into Imperm, it's like okay, cool, dead card. But if you draw into the Effect Veiler, it's like okay, cool, I have interaction.
Right.
I don't know. I'd still say that what I said like works, because like I'm not saying the card will never be used once this format's over. I just mean like, yeah, Plunder and maybe one or two other decks are the only decks that'll ever touch it. Because
Yeah.
I just want to say that you're both correct, because I mean, Veiler was being played in a lot of main decks before this format. Like honestly, a couple months ago, just out of nowhere. And like people just like it's just like preference for your hand trap.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're both correct.
it's just like how people still run Ghost Ogre.
Exactly.
Because it's a powerful card. It's just like how I still like swear by Ash Blossom. Like,
Yeah, no, Ash Blossom, and the fact, just Ash Blossom will always be good, just because it hits the one thing every deck does, is add
Or
a
needs
card to
to
the
do.
hand.
Yep.
And
Because-
against
Or
some
spend to the
decks,
grave.
that's literally
Yeah,
just
I
a
was gonna
turn
say, because
ender.
for some reason it can stop 3 different things that
Yeah.
have literally no
Or,
connection.
or special from the deck.
It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, are
Not
you
just one
trying
thing.
to do an action? No.
So I know we're
No.
already kind of talking about this, but do we just want to bring this discussion into like the meta hand traps, like actually talk about the different hand traps of the meta and their effectiveness?
I think we kind of did. We can touch on the
Yeah.
ones we haven't, but we already talked about Nibiru, Gamma. We just talked about
Imperm and Veiler.
Veiler and Imperm.
Ghost Ogre, kind of, sort
Yeah,
of.
we talked about Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is really good right now as a side card because it shuts down completely Numeron decks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a couple other niche strategies that need
It's
to come on the
okay
board,
against
but...
Dragon Link because if you hit it
Well-
on their Romulus, then because they usually use that Romulus as material, it throws like a small wrench into their plans, but they can usually just play through it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
here's
a
what-
weaker hit.
Here's what Triff said that I agreed with, because he's like, oh, if you're gonna Gamma their Romulus, you might as well just Ghost Ogre it, you know, because people are like, oh, well, the Gamma negates and destroys. I mean, yeah, but if you, for example, Ghost Ogre the Romulus, all right, yeah, they're gonna get their Divine Lance, but they no longer have any valid targets unless they, for some reason, actually, even then, yeah, they don't have any valid targets. I mean, okay, they would have a valid target for it in Phalanx, but they're not going to have a valid target for the effect of the Divine Lance to special out the Phalanx, because guess what? It's already out and it's being equipped to by Divine Lance.
Yeah.
So, like, I genuinely, yeah, actually, I didn't really have anywhere I was going with that.
Actually, thank you for reminding me. On the topic of, like, Veiler and hand traps, I actually think Veiler will fall out because why not use Moonlit Chill?
Yeah, that's if it becomes a little bit more available. I mean, I guess Moonlit Chill is Moonlit Chill once per turn. I think all the Ghost Girls are once per turn.
Yes.
So I mean, that's the only other thing that Veiler has going for it.
That's insane if you're resolving multiple Veilers in a turn.
But it
damn.
does happen. It does happen at least very infrequently, but it does happen, and it does come up.
Yeah, I think right now Moonlit Chill is an underrated card, and I think you hit the nail on the head. It's because it's so limited. But I bought my playset as soon as I could because I honestly think that card is only going to get better as time goes on.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I mean, all the Ghost Girls, well, most of them retain their value. And if any sort of strategy becomes like meta, there's like a Ghost Girl answer to it. Like if a burn deck becomes meta, then you can run the the one that gains you life points every time they special summon a monster.
Reminder: Moonlit Chill burns anytime the monster that you used and targeted leaves the field. It burns for, I want to say, half the original attack.
Something like that. But yeah, no, it is a very strong hand trap, and it's really nice. And I can definitely see it being run either in conjunction with or at like instead of Effect Veiler or Imperm or Gamma.
So we hit those. Do we consider Tactical Talents a hand trap, or is it just like
no,
a card?
It's just a good card. I mean, it was. I'm still. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about triple tactical talents or tactics talents.
Unbelievably strong. It is just
not very situational.
No,
but
it's not situational. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Every Yu-Gi-Oh since the dawn of its fucking gameplay has been a very monster-oriented game, and monster effects
actually at the beginning it was all like mostly about spells and traps.
Well, from MR1 on.
Yeah.
Tactical Talents just says if your opponent activates a monster effect, just do whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yes, draw a card. Or draw 2 cards, I'm sorry. Oh yes.
Yeah, Pot of Greed, Forceful Sentry, and Change of Heart. And 1 card, as long as your opponent just does anything on your turn.
No, not anything.
But
wait, they have to activate an effect, right? Or is it just a monster effect?
Monster
effect. Okay.
But we just talked about a shit ton of hand traps that are really good right now.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are monsters.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't was Imperm.
Yep. So I think the card's really, really good. I know we're not considering it a hand trap, but I think it's a very, very, very powerful card.
And also Forbidden Dropless, but that goes without saying. I don't think we need to talk too much about that.
No, I think we talked about it last time.
It's just power crept Dark Ruler no more.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's essentially all main deck stuff, or arguably main deck hand traps. Do we want to talk about side deck now? Because I think Lancia is Lancia and Chaos Hunter, we've had this discussion, are both extremely strong hand traps right now in the meta.
Yeah, they both, and they don't stop it, but they hinder Dragon Link because they can't go into their Chaos Dragons, just because they can't banish anything to summon them. I forgot what else, but that's mainly it from what I remember.
Does Infernoble banish at all? I thought they did. I
really wish.
Noble.
Yeah, I really don't know. I haven't been studying the top decks this format very much.
Yeah.
Just because I feel kind of disengaged with the meta. So I genuinely don't know.
I
Sorry,
think
listeners.
because this was the same day MBT put out his Prank Kids video, but he said it pretty good. He's like, he
Don't
wants.
spoil it, I have to watch it.
Okay, well, no, I'm just saying one of the comments he said was he doesn't want to. He's not going to learn what the Infernoble does because he's hoping that they get hit by time actual. By time like actual events start up.
Shit like that, it's great.
Yeah.
What was it? It was Megalith when they came out. One of his videos, he was playing as a player. He's like, I'm gonna have to finally read these cards.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, by the way, rip Megalith. You were too young to die.
No, they were just abusing a
Block
card.
Dragon, yeah,
they were just
absolutely.
abusing a card.
I don't disagree that Block Dragon should have been banned, but it still makes me sad a little bit just because now Megalith was like a rogue deck for like 3 days, or considered a pretty strong rogue deck for like 3 days or 1 weekend pretty much, because it topped 3 events, and now it's just gone. It's bye-bye. There's no...
I'm not that sad, personally. I'm kind of okay with it.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night, sweet prince.
Rock decks are not really my thing, and I'm not really
Our time together was brief, but I will always remember you.
Do we have any other hand traps, or is that it?
With Lancia, Chaos Hunter, well, Droll and Lock.
Draw and Lock is not.
It's already an established.
Yeah,
hand trap.
it's like niche against Dragon Link, I guess, but I wouldn't play it.
It's
they're way
honestly
better
the
cards to play.
best deck for it is against like Invoke Dogmatica or something.
Yeah, and even then, like
Lancia and Chaos Hunter are still, I think, better in
if
that matchup.
pendulums pop off again, like Droll
Yeah.
can come back for a while, but I'm okay with Droll, like just chilling.
I'm trying to think of anything else. No, I mean, I let me pull up my deck and see if there's anything, but I think it's just all. Yeah, I mean, the Super Poly's not really a hand trap, but
It's not at all.
I know.
It's just a powerful card.
Yeah, I really have nothing else.
Lastly, then, really briefly, let's touch on the drama. Not drama, but like the dramatic ending of the Create a Card poll. Because wow.
Oh yeah, what won? I actually stopped following that for a little bit.
Wait, is it over?
I don't think it's over. We're in the
Yeah.
finals with Photon versus Inzektor.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard that. I thought it was like actually ended.
Wow. I honestly would not have expected that. I'm gonna
No,
be
I
honest.
wasn't. I
Like,
thought it was gonna be waifu fucking cards, or like I thought it was gonna be like Fortune Lady or
I
something.
thought it was gonna be frogs.
And Lightsworn.
Yeah, I thought it was
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
be something
Lightsworn
like that,
was-
or like were frogs and Dino Mist on the same side? I honestly
I
thought
don't
Dino
remember.
Mist was gonna pull through like to the end just
I really wanted them to.
just because of Triff Hype Train. I
Yep.
honestly thought we were gonna see
I really
like,
wanted them to.
Dino Mist topping the fucking.
I'm not too
tournament.
surprised that
No,
Inzektor
me
and
either.
Photon made
No,
it to the
me
end.
I'm not.
No.
Because
I
Justin, I
honestly
don't think you
thought-
were around when Inzektor was
No,
like.
I wasn't surprised about Inzektor at all. Like Inzektor, yeah. I'm surprised Photon beat X Saber.
Dude,
I don't
Not, but I'm
understand
sad
that.
about it.
I don't
I'm not.
understand that at all. I
It's
don't.
I'm
an
actually
anime
sad about it. I
archetype.
wanted X Saber to get more support. I love
I
that deck
honestly
so much.
expected X Saber to go through and it to be X-Saber versus Inzektor or something.
Dude, that would have been nuts because that was an actual like meta matchup back then too. Was X-Saber versus Inzektor.
Was it?
Yeah, X-Saber was like one of the few decks that could actually play through Inzektor shenanigans.
Okay.
But yeah, that would have been really, really cool. Like two juggernauts of like
2012.
yeah, like 2012 duking it out. That would be fucking nuts. I would actually be super hyped about that. What do you guys want to win?
I wanted X-Sabers to win. Now I
Yeah,
don't
me too.
care. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't care, but I want Photons to lose because they beat X-Sabers. So
I want
go
Photons
Inzectors,
to
I guess.
win.
I don't really care.
I want Photons to win because I don't like Inzectors.
I want Inzektor to win just because I love when old decks become relevant again.
Oh, so you
Spirals!
Spiral
Oh,
meta!
shit.
Okay,
Spiral
no,
meta was great.
I
Oh,
mean
no,
like
no, no, you can't double
old
back here.
deck.
Oh,
I mean,
old decks,
yeah,
like,
decks that
like
when I was
Spiral,
around.
when they, yeah, because you were around during Spiral.
No, I was a fucking.
Hey,
fuck
we
you.
weren't
Yeah.
around doing Tier 0 Spiral.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I wasn't, because having to pay
Yeah.
through fucking,
Stacking your opponent's deck as a mechanic. What
Is
the fuck
ridiculous.
was Konami thinking? Like seriously?
I had people give me Nibiru in like horrible situations where I needed like a starter.
Yeah.
I had people like give me just the brickiest Konkiri.
That actually, the more I think about it, the more I think about it, that it makes me laugh how fucking dumb that decision was to design an archetype around stacking your opponent's deck. Like seriously, that is
It's an interesting.
it's an interesting mechanic, but it's so strong.
Well, to be fair, the deck isn't surrounded or doesn't all do that. One card does, and then that enables their plays.
Yeah.
I want to argue that if Drone was gone entirely for a while, the deck would have been less consistent and felt more fair. But because it existed at the same time as Master Plan and all that, like, wow. Wow.
And Magician Souls.
Yep. Oh my God. And Magician
Yep.
Souls.
But anyway, that's
Which is
not.
still an incredibly expensive
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. But anyway, that is not a creative card stuff.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Inzektor.
Shane
but
said some
Yeah.
egregious things.
I still like. No, I will stand by that. I love when
When-
decks
when
that were
Shane, I
popular
agree.
when
Two
we were
years?
I
playing.
agree.
When
I
Striker
agree.
comes back in 2 years and is fucking tier
Oh
0,
my God.
if you say a word, you can play in even a second.
No.
I'm
Old,
going to
okay,
loop
I'm
this
talking like
comment.
fucking grandpa decks, not like
Right,
an
right.
uncle deck. I'm talking like,
Don't say
in-
an uncle deck.
well, no, because they're not that old. I
I
mean,
know
I'm
you-
talking
I
like
know you.
Inzektor, Dragoonity, Ice Barrier. I thought was really cool that it's gonna be getting stuff. That's why
Yeah.
in that poll I wanted to like either Ice Barrier that goes like I fucking love like the hidden arsenal archetypes or like the dual terminal lore archetypes. Those like I don't think there's any saving Ally of Justice stuff. So let's
Or-
just fucking
or
forget about that.
Vylons.
Or Vylons, but
Hey,
Like-
Vylons are seeing play right now. It's fine.
A Violon is.
a Vylon is seeing play.
Yeah, so Vylons are meta, so Vylon players, no complaining.
Like I would. Oh, okay, well, never mind. I was gonna say I wouldn't be too upset if a Dark World deck, like a restructured deck of that, came out, but I'm just remembering back to days of maining 3 Dragged Down by the Graves and just being like, okay, yep, I get to see your hand and you discard my card and I get advantage off of that while I discard one of your tools. So much so that Dragged Down was actually seeing side deck play in the luxuries, if not main deck play, in the luxury series or championship series recently. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah, no, it like
I haven't
literally.
watched much Yu-Gi-Oh content that wasn't just like content creators right now. if
Yeah,
I'm being
no.
honest.
That's what I was just watching, like Simo and
Ooh,
yeah, Simo and who else was the other one? I think MST TV. Talk about like the decks that top that event, and I think in one of the like dinosaur decks, dude was maining Drag Down by the Grave so he could look at his opponent's hand and discard like a hand trap or something. I forget what deck it was, but it's coming up, and an entire deck revolving around that would just be degenerate again, like Dark World was back then.
Well, I think we've got 2 votes for a vote and a half for Insector and 1 for Photon.
All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
Maximum gold, or do we want to cut that short and
Nah,
talk
I
about it
say
next one?
let's talk about that next time because that'll be, in my opinion, a lengthier conversation.
And who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe we'll get more details on it when it's.
Yeah, actually, we'll talk about we'll revisit Fra because we did talk about it in a couple of episodes ago.
Thanks, Italian Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Fucking Italian Yu-Gi-Oh leaking everything. I think they did maximum gold. Fra. We can talk about the crossout designator being leaked for the February set.
Yep. Blazing Vortex.
Yeah, which I thought we were gonna get it sooner because they did. They limited Called by the Grave, but it's whatever.
All right.
Shane, sign us off.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. This has been the Table 501 Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. All right. Have a good one, guys.
A psychic soldier that rides into battle against the security forces on currents of lighting using an autonomic amplifier called Cyframe. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Wash your hands, wear masks.
Do it.
Drink. Un soldato siciccio, Cical, Vaca e Battaglia controlla il sforzo sicurezza su correnti di fulmine utilizzando un amplificatore autonomico chiamato Cyframe.
Is that the fucking Cyframe driver in fucking Italian?
Yeah, I butchered that. I'm sorry for the 0.01 Italian listeners we have. Anyway, Shane, bring us in.
All right.